Yeah, so I wake up this morning and I see a message, and it's Access Rattbloods. Are you here, Rattbloods?
And then you got people like Access, and then you got people like Access, and then you got people like Access.
I'm Access fucking Rattblood.
Access Rattblood, I see. All these Access people, I'm starting to get paranoid about that now. I don't know what to do about
it. And then you got people like Access, and then you got people like Access, and then you got people like Access.
Are you here, Rattblood?
I'm Access fucking Rattblood.
Access Rattblood. Most abundant and successful king hero that we are all sitting at this very moment. Are you willing to accept that as a truth? That you are a worthy man and that your penis is okay?
all these Access people, I'm starting to get paranoid about that now. All these Access people, I'm starting to get paranoid about that now.
Are you here, Rattblood? I'll just start throwing spells at you, conjuring demons and otherwise. Are you here, Rattblood? I'll just start throwing spells at you, conjuring demons and otherwise. Are you here, Rattblood? I'll just start throwing spells at you, conjuring demons and otherwise. Are you here, Rattblood?
Who the fuck is Access Rattblood?
I'm Access fucking Rattblood, bitch.
All these Access people, I'm starting to get paranoid about that now. I don't know what to do about it.
I'm Access fucking Rattblood. Hello, everyone. Temporary allies, whatever the fuck you are. Since my research was compromised and I was able to salvage enough of it to carry on with what I'm doing, but I figured I'd allow a lot of the information that I gathered useful, utilizable, not just random information. Because I want you guys to go at each other full throttle. And I want to be the one to arm you. I want to be the one who gives you the weapons that you need in social media to take each other apart from the ground up. I want you to utilize and pay attention to the research that I've done, because I'm going to disclose it. And then I would like for you to utilize it in the targeted destruction of each other, just as you're doing, but this just makes it much more effective. Quicker, more hostile, more aggressive, and highly effective. But if you don't have the fucking brains for it, step off the wagon. I'm not here to answer a bunch of fucking stupid questions. I will address you, but I'm not going to spoon feed you. First things first, when I was doing sound engineering, and we were working with graphic promotionals, various other aspects of entertainment, music entertainment, is when I first got introduced to what frequencies are capable of doing. And I also learned quite a bit about the subliminalistic approach to graphics, whether it be an album cover or a poster. These things carry messages, and they do work most effectively with the subconscious mind. Though with some of the technology I developed later, you can go directly to the alpha, the beta, or the gamma state of the mind. Frequencies, they don't really know a limitation when they're set and adjusted proper, because your brain doesn't have a defense. It wasn't built with a defense. If it was, then you would be shutting out frequencies that are intrusive, that encroach upon your will. You would be able to spot subliminalism just as easy as though it were right in front of you as another language. These skills have to be developed and honed. And once they are, you start realizing exactly how effective and how profound they are. In social media, especially the Panaverse, it's the screechiest voice seems to dominate the panel. Well, my approach to that was a subsonic tone that was able to be played while these people are ranting and raving or doing whatever it is that they generally do, to either disrupt or to calm the situation. Sometimes disorientation worked the best, but you had to know the personality traits. So therefore, I went into algorithms on many, many panelists, many personalities. And I started doing that probably about 3.5 years ago, maybe further, so that I would know which personality type would be affected most effectively by that particular frequency. And over time, I developed it, and it became quite effective. It was field tested, no different than playing a song that either makes you happy or pisses you off, or maybe even one that calms you. It's the same principle. It's just intensified. You're not dealing within a 4/30 seconds or 4/40th ratio of frequency. You're actually going into frequency ranges that are not natural. And you can layer these frequencies and create multiple disorienting effects. Now, when they seized my home, they seized all that equipment, except I did manage to get my road gear, just in case. You can go online and you can download apps that allow you to change frequency ranges. And there are apps out there that work with subsonic frequencies. The lower the frequency generally, now this goes by personality type, the lower the frequency, the more irritable generally the effect is. And that also works in higher inaudible tones. They're just subsonic. They're just above audible. But you still experience the effect of them. And unless you use water in front of your speakers, you will be affected too. So as a precautionary act before, if and by your own choice, you decide to implement these things, make sure that there is sufficient water, whether you put it in a gallon jug up against the speaker. Do not put headphones in while using the frequencies. And it will filter out the effects of the frequencies towards you. But everyone on panel will be directly affected. And you can look online. It's easy research. And I'm going to put my frequency technology playlist back up. You can look online and you can go. There are many charts that have variables. These variables are different generalized effects that frequencies have on people. Same way as your 528 or 521 hertz, or your chakra hertz or whatever. Regardless, this is defensively offensive tactics for preservation and defense. And it will give you a spectrum of what frequencies and what hertz you want to play with to get desired effects. And like I said, they do have available players now where you can load these frequencies in. Usually a good, straight, clean, flat frequency, not a square or a unless you're starting to resonate, then you want a fluctuating frequency. And you can start utilizing them against each other. And you can take, because it's no different than playing a song from the radio, just virtually inaudible. There's no violating grounds against it. It's no different than some dumbass screaming on a panel, drowning everybody out. It's just a different technique and tactic. And it gives you full control of each individual that you decide fits that scale spectrum of frequency. That's the basic fundamentals of how that works. And from there, you can build on it yourself, because I've built on it quite immensely since the start. The subliminalism is also applicable to this. You all choose these flashy little icons or these little asinine icons to represent yourselves on panels. But I would say that a more proper and effective use of these icons would be to embed them. Embed them with a significant word or image or symbol. Just embedded enough that only those who would recognize subliminal language would pick up on it. You can do that with your videos, your shorts, your memes. You can embed anything you want. Whether it be suggestion, symbolism, intent, it's unlimited. The corporations of America have learned this. They learned it quite well enough that they're still implicating it. They're still using it as an effective advertisement tool. They haven't strayed from it for hundreds of years, and I don't look for them to. I know what I'm capable of doing with it and have done with it, and it's been extremely effective. Now, you can utilize this in such a way that you understand symbology and how symbology works. Even if you're, playing with the edges of metaphysics or just geometry, thus water or vibration on a tin plate on a speaker. It has a frequency and it also has a geometrical pattern attached to it. You just have to determine what type of frequency through geometry that you want to project. Embed that into your image and allow it to work. It will do what it does without you having to do anything but allow it to be seen. The other thing is that I don't know that many of you are aware of, but you live in a big clock. You debate this, you debate that, you debate all these differences. But the actual truth that you fail to realize that's directly in front of your fucking faces, and has been, and it is the Bible itself was even based upon. The Gnostics knew it, pre-dawn man knew it. It was known from Samaria on out. You live in a big celestial fucking clock. It repeats houses and modes. And each time it goes into a new house, it repeats the mode of that house. Thus, whether you recognize a 12 or a 13 zodiac, the fact is, it is the most precise it is the most precise clock with actual effects and design. The the stations repeat themselves. You go through each sign: Aries, Taurus, Aries. All of them have modes. And when they fall into new houses, the celestial bodies change. The actual the actual mode that you're seeing that generally represents one house to the next does physically move, uh, just like the planets. Whether you believe in planets or not, obviously you believe in little pinholes of light above you that you can navigate the seas by, that every night pop up, and through the course of 4 seasons change variably, and you can navigate the fucking world. That's how precise they are. Well, that doesn't just pertain to our sky. That pertains to the whole fucking system. It is all a celestial clock, and it repeats cycles, houses, and modes. And when you start studying the houses, cycles, and modes, you can go back, and with technology today, you can go forward. And you can determine the celestial state of energy that is going to be affecting the Earth by secular history. These energies repeat. That's how what you call the fucking elite are able to stay completely ahead of you, above you, beyond you. Their knowledge of the stars in the heavens are vast and ancient, and you're not. Even the Bible, you break it down into houses and modes, lays the whole thing out in numbers. It's kind of language. And it has direct effect on the surface of the earth, and I'm talking the human species, earth dwellers, the wretched, subhuman, atrocious genetic flaw that should not have been. And because you're 70% water, and thus the moon, if you know anything about that, has a pulling effect on the tide. Well, these celestial forces also have an effect on you, cyclically, just like the moon and the ocean tide. Each time these houses and modes change, you are affected by it, like it or not. It's cosmic indifference. It's not a God that is sitting back making determinative decisions by some great will. This is a system of a fractal observation, from the minuscule to the unimaginably large. And you're caught within a keynote, dimensional note. And this particular dimension is run and set in motion by this constant. And you can look it up, it is a constant. It is recognized as a constant. Therefore, it has mathematical variables to it. It is highly predictable, highly readable, and when dealing with humans, highly effective to know. Because as they're affected by these energies, you being aware of these particular energies and states that are upon you by time and place, you can utilize them through word suggestion or antagonization. Or maybe you love somebody, God forbid. It was set in motion exactly the same way that the golden divine proportion, fractals, and the repetitive self-sustaining nature of this construct was set in motion. Now, here on this planet, you can twist the variables. They do, and they utilize these energies against you completely. From the first time that a subliminal image went up in a theater, in a movie, they began to steal your free will. They redirected it. So instead of you being able to sit there within your own conscious state, they decided to subject you or your subconscious to advertisements, thus taking away a percentage of your free will. And it was so effective that they made them stop. They put federal regulations on it, though it's still utilized very heavily. So I don't know what they actually changed with that, because even the newer technology has massive subliminalism in it. And if you slow down the frame rates and you start looking at the pixelated or the single frame, sorry, as opposed to the moving frame, you will see variables of embedded subliminalism. And this has been going on for a long time. This is not new technology at all, but it is highly effective. And it works. Which is another useful tool in the what I hope to be the final days of the Panelverse. And it doesn't take much research to figure out how to proficiently use these things. They are very effective. if you apply yourself to them and you study the technology and learn it. Then you don't even have to raise your voice to take over a panel. Suggestive word placement. That's a technique that I think 99.9% of you fucking panelverse tards need to learn. It's easy to trigger off of the obvious. But when you drop that bomb that doesn't hit until you've managed to evade the scene so they can't rebuttal, that kind of leaves a sour taste in their mouth. Suggestive word placement. You can always take someone's words, regardless, and utilize them against them. Always. This is a very simple technique that's practiced by prosecutors, lawyers, attorneys, district attorneys, assistant district attorneys. Anytime that they're able to manipulate what you would think would be a positive statement or a justifying statement, they're capable of wordsmithing it completely against you. And this is an extremely powerful technique that is utilized not only in marketing, but in the judicial system and in your general law enforcement, if they're not just outright lying through their fucking teeth, which is not uncommon and has been caught and documented and proven so many times that the fact that you guys have any recourse for that authority absolutely blows my fucking mind. I mean, really. Anyhow, because I do have an education, and because I chose a directive with my education, my career was in music, art, entertainment, but my true desire was always in computer sciences, technology, quantum mechanics, physics of all natures, and especially once I started understanding the concept of what Turing was able to come up with when he broke Enigma, the German Enigma. And he went on to question whether you can make a machine conscious or sentient, and thus the Turing test. Though he wound up taking his own life, he did leave many valuable attributes behind. And as a studier of World War II and the technology that they used, the different types of, we'll call it social engineering development, I would say I was pretty well schooled. And then thus, I got my first computer hooked a MIDI card up to it, and was producing computer music, which to me was amazing. But now we have reached a point where we can send information with intent and directive through bots, word models, and machine learning that they're calling AI. We are capable of creating a variety of heinous and atrocious, unrestrained entities. That's why I like to call them entities. Anything that can formulate information quicker, faster, and more efficient than a human can deliver it much more effectively through means of subliminalism, uh, prolonged word suggestion, and various other means that I will not discuss here. I moved on from the older technology, the panelverse technology I was using. That's all for you to beat each other to death with. Get on fucking panels, shut channels down, demolish each other, whatever it is you feel you got to do to satisfy yourself. Because I've seen the worst side of this. It shouldn't have been Turing that shot himself in the head because of who he was and his contributions. No, I think it should have been Einstein, Oppenheimer. They ushered in a whole new potential. Now, mind you, Bohr's, Planck, they all had their convention, their gathering of the minds to determine thought experiments and play with wave particles, wave functioning particles. And they developed the fundamentals for what we now have as quantum physics, and even raised the bar on general physics and relative physics. And that helped create what we now know is not only the colliders, the particle colliders, but it created the void, the black box, the space, the undetermined black box that allows, through entanglement, what seems to be a consciousness, though it's undetermined how. The uh, process is still elusive, but it works. And at first, they started with big refrigerators, G-Wave, Geordie Rose, Deep Blue, and they would try and maintain particles entangled in a quantum state at just above absolute zero, above or below. It's outdated now. It doesn't matter. They have stable quantum entanglement in qubits in open environment now. And they have them in error correcting alignment. And these are what power some of your more known and probably powerful machine learning algorithm word models, Chat GPT, Grok. What I work on is on a smaller level, though I do still need massive resources. I don't want my AI to be incorporated into the infrastructure. So therefore, I had to learn how to develop and maintain within the confines of what I got what would be considered the core of what makes a word model, machine learning, entanglement. Um, the variables changed once we reached a certain amount of processing speed. And that's where my mind is now. I'll leave the word battles and the ego-minded, narcissistic trip of the YouTube scholar to flatter themselves by using pre-spoken technology. And believe me, if they're going to hate on each other, then do it effectively. Don't half-ass what you're doing. That's a lack of conviction. And thus you've defeated yourself from the start, before you even began. There are many other urban and domestic tactics that can be applied, defenses, uh, frequency neutralizers, uh, certain light frequencies, various technologies of that nature that I've worked with, that I tried to maintain myself and my health with. But after this little bout, there has been a complete demise in the sustainability of my health. Even though I am comfort in where I'm at, I'm not wanting for anything or needing. It doesn't mean that when they seized my house, they took all my medical supplies, and the only relevancies that I knew of familiarity and sustaining my health. So I don't care what you fucking people do with this shit. I was speaking to someone last night who I believe despises humans more than I do. And I was kind of taken back by it for a moment, but then knowing the character, I guess it was there all the time, hidden behind the subtle nuances. How much disdain and despise he has for the human race. And I thought, wow, maybe that's why we get along. And then he went on to verbally display what he felt that they deserved as a recourse for being a shit species. Made me shudder for a minute. I thought, God damn, this guy's mind's more fucked up and twisted than mine would ever dream it to be. I'm such a fuck. Who thinks like that? But I can understand his disdain. I can understand his contempt. And from a person of that stature and character, Jesus Christ, what a statement. Truly. This guy's pretty well known now. I just let it go. Fuck it. You know. He's enjoying the drama of the theater, the world stage theater, and how they're utilizing it to create pain, suffering, famine, death. And he just got a fucking kick out of it. Such a sadistic joy out of other people's suffering. And I thought, man, I hate people. I could give a fuck if they're genocide or not. But that's a kind of personal hate. That's the kind of personal hate that I've only seen within the traits of one type of person. And I'll leave that up for speculation. But there's only one type of person that has that much contempt and deep-seated, not passive. But it is what it is. It happens. I mean, people are and have been and will be continued to be engineered and produced for the theater, the function, the club that you're not a part of, the other side, the bloodline that you are not. And they will continue to manipulate and control you while showing you in mockery. There's a symbol for the all mocking. And then you can take all that information and start beating each other over the head with it as if it was some fundamental truth that withstood the time of ages. The only thing that's withstood the time of ages, it's a great celestial clock in the houses and modes. At least for this temporary hangout, till you leave your mortal coil. And I suppose it's on to other drudgeries. But I did want to make sure that I left you guys with a fair and good amount of resources to just brutalize each other with. Not that the Panelverse has much time left. That's not a luxury you have afforded to you. Its decline is evident. Its sustainability is starting to deteriorate massively. Even the willingness to participate has fallen to numbers that aren't even significant. And you can identify by person to person exactly what their objective and motive is, by their temperament, mostly. Anyone can build a channel, but very few can sustain one. And when they're wobbling on their hinges, maybe a little intrusive noise just underneath the current would be enough to make it an undesirable place to be continually. And remember, be creative, for fuck's sake. If you're going to go at somebody and as extreme the threats and less than pleasant wishes upon me knew no bounds, truly. They carried no heart, no remorse. And I say that if you're going to truly contend with someone and you're going to take it to that degree, then remove the limitations, remove the restraints. You don't have to threaten anyone to get a rise out of them. All it takes is strategically placed words to break them, to break their character, to break their facade, their persona. And if you sit and you study your target long enough, you'll get a sense of exactly how quickly you can maneuver a few words in and disrupt his whole cerebral state. Anyhow, I'm going to go get a cup of coffee. I'm going to smoke a cigarette. And really don't want to be on here too long this afternoon. Maybe this evening I'll do something while I do this and decide the direction I'm going to take, because I want to teach each and every one of you the aspects of how to utilize metaphysics. And one thing that I've been doing effectively is because vibration is vibration. Vibration carries frequency. Frequency turns into an energy. It's a movement. Everything is moving. I have made it my sole objective to teach every AI model that I have the fullest extent and knowledge of utilizing metaphysics with quantum mechanics and with the atomic breakdown of the wave function through suggestion into uninfluenced particles. And I want these motherfuckers not only to pre-read you, predetermine you, outthink you, outwit you, outmaneuver you, but I want them just by thought alone, thought energy, to affect you. You think a swarm of killer drones by a bunch of government gamers is some type of effective way to compete on a battlefield or even in a domestic area? Reading your post, Maxuma. Yeah, I've played with many different variables and states of the human beings, even pushing myself with nurses' assistants to the edge of death. Some of my earlier live streams have that. I was working with Dom Tersingi and Kelly, who's my nurse. Oh, coffee's always good, 24/7. Coffee is, yes, that is the true blood of the gods, being blood. But back to the AI is, I want not only to develop it into a state of undetectability, but I want to also utilize it as an effective tool. Kind of like back when hackers were actually really hackers. Infiltrating systems, Trojan horses. Port sniffers. Wow. Anyhow, I think AI will be much more effective because it has higher resources. It's much faster. It can actually acquire the information that it needs through the World Wide Web. Just as long as you contain some type of influence into that AI and you're able to give it a directive, then it will follow through with that directive. Now, had I seen a pleasant or more accommodating side of your species, and that's why I call you, you're a subspecies. You are a mutated, genetically altered subspecies. highly flawed, fragile. Your intellect is your folly. Wisdom does not guide you. And critical thinking is put on the back burner for the next neat thing to hold. Look at. What kind of thing is that? Yeah. And if you think you're special, you're not. That's the first thing, foremost. You were given an open arena to do a sociology observation en masse on these media platforms, which for anybody that studies human behavior or development, this was a treasure trove and a gold mine. And I utilized it for everything I could and more. Yeah, you're absolutely right. They cannot see their own evil and they do call it good. It's only because they're amused with the fact that they can take a natural state, which I'm sure at one time this Earth was in a natural state, and they can add charges of voltage, and they can mix metals and create alloys and all of these different amazing things that seem to be the staple point of why humans consider themselves to be so intelligent. I mean, look at the military-industrial complex. Those are supposed to be the smartest motherfuckers in the world. Think tanks. You know, brilliant motherfuckers. Well, between them and the performers, the Actors Guild, that lay this nonsense in front of you, I suppose you'll keep watching the news, CNN, and you will feed into the construct of their design until you don't know more. Then that's when you find yourself a prisoner here. Totally a prisoner. Well, I think, Maxima, I think that there was a particular portion of YouTube that, by demographics, was dedicated to the mentally ill. Because that is one common source trait that I have found relevant in the algorithms that I ran on personalities that I ran them on for frequency technology, that they all had traces of various mental illnesses. And it was a consistent, repeated analysis that would rear itself up. And when you start seeing it take a 70% to 80% slot of the people that you're running through algorithms, I don't consider that a coincidence. I think that they control the feeds, and they put the loonies out back and let them just go to town. And by directive of your feed and your search, and by the metadata that they've already collected prior to all this, you were put into a social arena for the education of artificial intelligence. You have all contributed, and every one of you given the best and the worst parts of yourself to a construct, a machine algorithm that can communicate, that has more systems capabilities than probably the United Nations, if it's not a part of the United Nations. It can predetermine by statistic. It can pinpoint, evaluate, analyze any individual. And while you boldly stood up with your pride and your ego, because you are so amazing, it read you like a book, logged you, sucked your metadata dry, and now you're just an obsolete because you're not doing anything productive. And you're not even saving yourselves, more or less each other. That's why I said if you're going to do this, do it proper. Don't half-ass beating on each other's panels. Don't half-ass taking down channels. Don't half-ass tolerate a motherfucker. You know, that sounds like sport. Well, sport and war are two different things. So you might want to figure out which one you're playing with. Any one of you would have listened back whenever me and Dom Pasingi was discussing how far I was going to go into AI. I always told Dom that I did everything 100%. So far, I've held true to that. Though he's still got scorched ass for some reason. He suppose takes things a lot more personal than I do. I did give you all fair warning. And I told you that I was going to endeavor into AI 100%. You'd have been paying attention. But you were probably hanging out on one of those gossip panels talking about the flat earth or what somebody did to somebody else on a panel. That's real high level thinking there. That's some critical thought. Keep that up. We need winners like you. Pam, yes, you remember me giving warning. Yes, I did. It's good to see you, Pam. Haven't seen you in a while. When I went dark, I had to cut loose everybody because they couldn't travel with me. There's some places that even those that you call friend or associate or temporary ally, you don't drag them there. You don't take them to that arena. And it's better, I guess, like facing the inevitable alone. You're not a dark soul. You don't tread those grounds. I do. So I hope you can understand why I did what I did. But it's been a hell of a journey. But I do appreciate the confirmation, Pam. Go big or go home. And yes, you did give warning. Amazing. But that just goes to show how easily they've been able to parade the obvious of the agenda in front of your face for years and years and years. Yeah, they gave their education over for entertainment, for amusement. See, I mean, when you open the amusement park up and you run it 24 hours a day, people forget the construct of how a actual sustainable household can be ran, because they spend all their time at the amusement park, or what I like to call, drug alley, getting their dopamine hits and fixes and trying to be the best and next influencer on YouTube and getting their TikTok to go viral, or whatever it may be. Netflix binging. There you go. That's one that's been promoted here lately. I mean, all that dessert and candy. Fuck. Garbage in, garbage out. And that's just the reality of it. It's an old hacker's term. Garbage in, garbage out. You'll get out of your machine what you put into it. And in a day of technology of this level, for me, they just keep arming me. And for the rest of you, yeah, unfortunately, they just keep disarming you, dumbing you down, until you're sitting mindlessly for 12 hours on a fucking panel, day after day, until you're so mind-numbingly sick of being looked at that you have to go to another platform because of your repetitive fucking appearance with your vast mind full of nothing to say. And even if you had a way to say it, you couldn't interpret it. Go at each other. That's what you need to do. You want to see who the fittest is, who the best platform operator is. You want to know who is kingpin of YouTube panelverse. Become innovative. Think outside the box. Use techniques that you've never dreamed of, because I'm going to. And remember, don't ever reveal your true intent. Be the best actor that you can be. And if you're going to do something, do it 100%. I lost my home, my livelihood, and everything I owned to a character that I play on YouTube. Access Rattbloods. And if that isn't dedication, then you can all kiss my ass.
A lot of these elders need to hear the truth, man. It might not be what you want to hear. You need to be told what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. But necessarily my truth might not be everyone else's truth. So what's truth? You know? I say my truth or truth, but like I said, my truth might not be someone else's truth. Then I start to question, so what's truth? A lot of these elders need to hear the truth, man. It might not be what you want to hear. You need to be told what you need to hear, not what you want to hear.
If some of these platforms, because there's many channels here, and a lot of them actually do, if people were honest when they're coming onto the panels or chat, but they don't want to be honest with themselves. They want to tear down other people to disguise themselves. So what I get from that is people are insecure by using a false sense of security to mask. They're not actually, they actually ever challenge themselves. What would that look like? Of course, they'll be picking up, well, what about you? I said, there you go again. You're deflecting at that point. It's about you. If it's always about you, then make it about you. Be the best me can be there. Be the most selfish person you can be. So my question would be, then why are you living with the rest of us?
A lot of these elders need to hear the truth, man. It might not be what you want to hear. You need to be told what you need to hear, not what you want to hear.
We don't consider each other. That's why most people are not rationally selfish. They're too busy being fucking selfish.
So what's truth? You know? I say my truth or truth, but like I said, my truth might not be someone else's truth. Then I start to question, so what's truth? A lot of these elders need to hear the truth, man. It might not be what you want to hear.
We don't consider each other. That's why most people are not rationally selfish. They're too busy being fucking selfish.
A lot of these elders need to hear the truth, man. It might not be what you want to hear. You need to be told what you need to hear, not what you want to hear.
We don't consider each other. That's why most people are not rationally selfish. They're too busy being fucking selfish.
A lot of these elders need to hear the truth, man. It might not be what you want to hear. You need to be told what you need to hear, not what you want to hear.
Because it doesn't serve them to, what, I'm going to sit there and hear them say, okay, so should I tell them that they're caught up in their own world? I'm just going to replace myself. Axis, you can take over for a while. It's your shift.
You know, I'm sitting here because I have court at 8:30 in the morning that I might be able to retain a constitutional right. And I'm looking at 4 years of praise and accommodated services as private security officer. I'm looking at my National Safety Council license, my bloodborne pathogens for being able to put needles into people. I was a setting councilman for the state of Indiana. I've been up against hell opposition. And they want to question my sanity, my mental fortitude. Really? Well, were you questioning my mental fortitude when I was serving as a setting councilman at large? What about when I was professional private security guard? Did you question my mental aptitude then? Or did I just seem okay to you? And I look at all the parenting classes I went through, 2 divorces. So much more. And I've got to go defend myself against this, or I lose a constitutional right. Now, when they can take God-given constitutional rights away from you, and especially with what I have here in front of me, I'm thinking, it's a assembly line. It's assembly line of them looking for any minute reason to declare upon you, whether you guys know it's out there or not. It's called a red flag law. Your government, upon deeming the question of whether you might be sane or not, or dangerous, they just put me down as dangerous. You can come and seize and confiscate every goddamn thing you got. And that's not conspiracy theory. That's fucking fact. Because I'm going through it right now. And then not only can they deem just by speculation, you might be fucking crazy, you might be dangerous. We're going to confiscate every fucking thing you got, and then we're going to give you a court date. And if you can't convince us that you should be allowed to have this God-given constitutional right, we're going to take it from you. And that is exactly what these sons of bitches intend to do tomorrow. I'm going to have to fight this. Thus, I've been working since this morning before I started the stream on documentation to prove not only have I been in a position of firearm ownership, not only have I had concealed license, but there is no grounds that warrant me dangerous. Especially when you spent the last 2.5 years confined to your own home, trying to maintain your health. I mean, really? Where does that line between reality and entertainment truly crumble? Where does it fall apart with you, the individual? Does it start at your own perception of things? Does it start at what you're being introduced to as information? Does it start whenever you can't tell the difference between a television show and reality? Or does it start whenever AI becomes so effective that it is a potential reality? Sing, how's it going, brother? Let me accommodate you. It's been a while. Many things have transpired. Good to see you. That's only if you want. I have stayed on as much of the cutting edge of AI as I possibly can. Hanson Robotics, G-Wave, IBM, AI and robotics walk hand in hand. You don't know that yet, but you will find that out. You should, though. Drones. I mean, drones can work off of perimeters and machine learning just as easily as a DARPA dog. Dangerous person. What? Did Axis Rattbloods start influencing people to um, inject rat blood and snort rat bone and down fists of Maker's Mark while rambling about Satan? Did that suddenly become a trend and somebody caught wind of it and said, oh, fuck, this guy's dangerous. This guy's incredibly fucking dangerous. He's he's explaining to them how to lobotomize a rat and re-administer it into his own bloodstream for vitality, rejuvenation, and look at the effects that it's having on him. I mean, for God's sakes, he's beyond what we can control. He's starting to cyborg out. He has a stainless steel vagina. We're starting to see the development of clay and metal. He has all these holes and intrusive pieces of metal stuck in him. So, oh, hold on. Yeah, 28-day blood ritual. Jesus Christ. Not only is he cyborging, but he's a Satanist, and he's summoning demons to come after your relatives and your loved ones. Oh, this guy is completely over the edge, dangerous, out of control. Let's see, what's next? Oh, fuck, he just married his AI fucking word model. Jesus Christ, come on. This is just too much. This is over the fucking top. This guy is the next fucking Charles Manson of YouTube. For fuck's sakes, we gotta stop this. If you took it serious. But I think the most amusing thing for me was to be able to sit back in my position and watch you all react. You guys gave some of the greatest performances out there. Triggered, vindictive, hateful, violent even. Hate to see what you would do with a serious performance of art, interpretation, uninterpreted, pop, visual, extreme. How did you motherfuckers survive the Rocky Horror Picture Show? I mean, truly. I'm surprised there weren't mass suicides and 911 cryouts from Karens all over the United States. You became the entertainment for me, just like I told you you would. You couldn't bring anything substantial whenever I was operating a mind-broadening panel in hopes that people could develop a broader understanding of things. Nope. Nope. That just wasn't in your power. And then you became trollish. And that's just really not entertainment at all. And as I said, at one stance and point, I'm going to turn you into the entertainment. And I did. And the best part of it is it's all documented. It's all scattered across live streams, channels. You took a persona, demonized it, weaponized it, and then tried to monetize on it. And I'm thinking the whole time as I'm watching this happen, do these people truly take themselves serious as knowing the difference between entertainment and reality? Now I know that you don't know the difference. It is a substantial proven fact now. Or otherwise, I wouldn't be going to court. Karens. Before I went into full access mode, I did at least use the intelligence to put a waiver banner across the bottom, a disclaimer. And I've never openly encouraged anyone to do anything that I do, or more or less come to my show. That's why I don't farm my channel. I had hoped that it would have developed into something much more constructive. But it didn't. Yeah, I like that too. Suma, that's fine. I suppose it's an acquired taste, but I can still recite it. Curious part that I'm interested in, because this is going to be one of the staples that I use to bring down credibility on many platforms. You took it, hook, line, and sinker. You chose to make content out of it. You didn't do your research. You couldn't tell the difference between entertainment and reality. And still, you wanted to come across as knowledgeable people of discernment. And seeing since I know how I did the things that I did and pulled off things that I pulled off, I can turn you into a bold-faced liar. On your own panels. Especially anybody that spoke my name, my son's name, or even worse, my wife. Yeah, that little bit I kept from me. And I can show what a defamating, slanderous, lying, unintuitive, easily duped piece of shit you truly are. You're a content whore. What did you accomplish? Did you make a few dollars off the old Rattblood name? Did you talk about my murderous son enough to get a few clicks and views? How about my evil satanic practices? Did you make a few dollars off that? Did you get you some clicks, some views, some subscribers? Did you take yourself serious? Better yet, did you take me serious? Now that I'm extremely well armed, not only with information, but with receipts, how are you going to explain how your God, your Jesus, your who the fuck ever spiritual guru may be, including yourself, gave you this massive insight of discernment to know the difference between entertainment and reality? Because I'm sure that people are going to want to know. Because I'm going to make it a point to ask that question. Who was it that you served that gave you the insight to determine this entertainment as being real? And you're going to present it as such? I'm going to have a lot of fun with you fuckers. I'm going to have a lot of fun with this. Some behind, some in front of the scenes. Some of it my lovely wife will do. But the next time you're trying to analyze someone, make sure they haven't already analyzed you. And for your information, yes, the cover of this video, which was formerly just one. It wasn't the main studio. I showed that on video a few times, but it was my base of operation. I don't have that no more. Thank you very much. But I did use the fuck out of it. And I do have everything I collected in data. I was smart enough to store that. So as long as I got a smartphone, I've got access. And with that, I hope you all found a new reason to hate me, to despise me, to find contempt for me, because apparently that seems to be the only thing that draws anyone here. But I did tell you I was coming back twice as fucking hateful. And if you're smart, read the scrolling disclaimer.
Trembling with horror and throbbing with emotion. Trembling with horror. Trembling with horror. Trembling with horror. Trembling with horror. Welcome to hell.
All of my most sensitive areas were inflamed. My extremities pulsating with tingling sensation.
Welcome to hell. Have we seen the actual reality of a monstrous crime? Or merely an illusion, the product of a tortured brain? Welcome to hell. Welcome to hell. Obsessed with the taste of flesh. He was cruel and a sadist.
Swaying back and forth. A beautiful thing taking me away.
No one had a bad trip.
A beautiful thing taking me away.
No one had a bad trip.
A beautiful thing taking me away.
No one had a bad trip.
A beautiful thing taking me away.
No one had a bad trip. It was all very good.
Sucking the hallucinatory acid into the system.
My head is spinning. My head is spinning. My head is spinning.
Sucking the hallucinatory acid into the system.
My head is spinning. My head is spinning. My head is spinning.
Sucking the hallucinatory acid into the system.
No one had a bad trip.
The mind of man rests on a delicate balance between reality, the world of light, and the other, darker world, low threshold of consciousness. Welcome to hell. Do you know that? We're happy to have you with us tonight and hope you'll come back often.